Dodge Viper, one of the best American sports car ever. It is an iconic high-performance American sports car known for its massive V10 engine and the raw power. I am going to present you today every Viper special edition on this list, from the raw roofless to the hardcore track monsters and the wild Hennessey projects. By the way, what's up guys, it's No Seconds Lost, and I would appreciate you to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, cause it really supports my work. Starting with the one that started it all, the RT10, a Viper that has no roof. Under the long hood, it uses an 8-liter naturally aspirated V10. Dodge rated the earliest Viper at about 400 horsepower and roughly 465 pound-feet of torque. It was a brutal of the line, 0 to 60 in the mid 4 seconds, and a top speed of around below 170 miles per hour in factory trim. The RT10 wasn't about electronics, it was a pure analog muscle, and it set the tone for every special edition that flowed. Next, we have the GTS-R. It is a factory race program built with Oreca and others for the GT racing and Le Mans. The GTS-R used a heavily modified V10 and a race hardware. Depending on the spec and series, the race engines made over 650 horsepower and well over 650 pound-feet of torque, with a 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, with a top speed of over 200 miles per hour. Those cars were so powerful that they have won championships in the GT racing worldwide. The 1999 ACR was a Dodge's early statement that the Viper could be a true track car while still being a street legal. It kept the big V10 8-liter engine, so it produced 460 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, with a 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, and a top speed of around 180 miles per hour, plus a bunch of aero and suspension upgrades. It made it much sharper than the stock GTS. Of course, the regular Viper wasn't good enough for some people, so the Hennessey took Vipers and pushed them way past factory. In the late 90s, we've got the Venom 650R, the Hennessey tuned Viper. It was named for its crank numbers, around 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. It absolutely obliterated stock performance, 0 to 60 in roughly 3.3 seconds and a top speed of over 200 miles per hour on tuned examples. Dodge also showed a concept version of the GTS-R. The 2000 GTS-R concept began to stand out, one of the previewed many styling and aero cues for later road and race cars. It was a single functional concept with a race-focused packaging and roughly a 500 horsepower V10 GTS-R. It's a concept you'll see in influence later Viper's generations. Heading to the early 2000s, the SR team brought a bigger aluminum block. It used an 8.3-liter V10 and about 500 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque. It did 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds and the top speed was close to 190 miles per hour. The VCA editions are where rarity meets Mopar culture. Over the years, they were one of the tiny round Viper raffle cars and VCA batch releases. Plus, the closely related Ram SRT10 VCA edition trucks in 2004, where only about 50 of them were referenced. VCA edition are collectible, often limited to a few dozen units, and they usually add unique paint, badges, and provenances rather than radical power upgrades. Back to our Hennessey, they didn't stop with his 650 Venom. They've created the Venom 1000 Twin Turbo. It had 1000 horsepower and a crazy 1100 pound-feet of torque that gave insane acceleration with a 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds and probably a top speed of over 250 miles per hour. Dodge later revived the ACR name for the 2008 ZB generation. ACR this time it was a serious production car track weapon. The 2008 ACR used an 8.4-liter V10 producing about 600 horsepower and 560 pound-feet of torque with aero parts that generated crazy downforce. It set a lap time at the Nürburgring at 7 minutes and 22 seconds. And the car did a 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. The ACR was built to dominate corners on the racetrack. For the 50th anniversary, Hurst Performance teamed with the Dodge for its anniversary, and in 2008 to 2009 they made roughly 50 cars. These were a largely appearance and detailed package built on the SR-TA CR platforms, special Hurst gold or black-white paint schemes, unique shift hardware, interior badges, and limited serial numbers. Mechanically, most Hurst edition kept the ACR 600 horsepower hard, but the rarity is what drives collector interest. Dodge then offered the ACR-X, essentially a dealer-supplied, race-oriented step beyond the ACR. It used the same 8.4-liter base, but with headers, lower restriction exhaust, and serious aero. Dodge quoted a significant lap time gains. The ACR-X lapped the Nürburgring in the low 7.3 seconds in dedicated test runs. Finally, the TA 1.0, the time attack, introduced in the modern Viper's era, first seen for the 2014 model year. Unlike the special editions, the TA 1.0 focused on aero and chassis. The engine was the same factory 8.4-liter V10 tuned to 640 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque, a modern VX trim, but the TA 1.0 adds aggressive aero, wheels, and brakes. It set production car lap records at the track like the Laguna Seca. If you had to pick one of these Vipers, which it would be? Just tell me in the comments why would you pick it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see ya guys in the next video.